Okay, so I've seen leaks, I've seen spoilers on Twitter that people have now, like, you know what? Insert the meme where of like that guy in Toy Story is like, I'm done playing with you. And the toy that's Woody, it's Tokyo Revenger manga. And just because people find out like the true motivation of Mikey's, right? I don't know the full context. I don't know the full buildup of the scenario and the scene that's happened. And we're gonna go and watch a video from the Masked Man explaining it and seeing what happens. Hopefully he spoils it, because I want to know the context of Tokyo Revengers and see what's happening in the manga, because I have dropped the manga. The 3D arc, it's just not for me, guys. It's just not. It's so boring. It feels like added extra on DLC for Tokyo Revenger. It's just not necessary in any sense. It literally should have ended off on a good note where you guys know where it is. All right, for the manga readers, you guys know where it should have ended. Okay, so let's get into it, guys. Let's get into the Masked Man's video about it.
Yeah. Okay, I don't think I need to say this, but obviously this video is going to be containing massive spoilers for Tokyo Revengers, as this is going to be a discussion of the current state of the Tokyo Revengers manga. And look, just to make my perspective on the series very clear, I am a fan of Tokyo Revengers. I'm one of the first people to really talk about it on the AniTube scene and bring light to the series, as I thought it was extremely underappreciated, and then it ended up blowing into the mainstream after the anime. Now, with that being said, what are my current thoughts on Tokyo Revengers at the moment? And to really discuss that, we need to go back in time a little bit. And that was no pun intended, but I genuinely thought Tokyo Revengers was a story with a good amount to offer. If I didn't, I wouldn't have talked about it in the way that I did. And I know there's people who just think Tokyo Revengers is doo-doo butt from the beginning. Whatever, that's cool. That's your opinion on the series. But for me, I thought it had a lot of really interesting moments, especially with Taiju's confrontation, all of the stuff that they were trying to do with Mikey's character.
Dude. Takemichi's like, I'm gonna defeat you. I'm gonna beat you. Blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm gonna do it, right? But then, no. Who defeats him? At the end of the day, who defeats him? Who comes in and saves the day? This guy miraculously come in, and the reason he comes in to save the day, because he gets this mystical fruition that like, ooh, I should go to visit a church today. I think Baji and my brother would want me to. Like, what kind of ass pull is that? You go into the fucking Black Dragon church and go against the Black Dragon leader to then get your ass kicked with no plan. You get set up completely by Kisaki, right? Get your ass beaten. Then you can say, I'm gonna defeat you and take control over the Black Dragons. Like, bro, what are you saying? This dialogue is so corny. Like, there's so many things you can fix in this situation. It's like, how I would fix this arc is just some way, like, I don't know, like Takemichi has his cell phone on him. Even though like Kisaki's like thinks 10 steps ahead, he maybe overlooked the sight of like Takemichi having a cell phone or him keeping it in his boots. So like, just in case if he gets robbed, he doesn't get his phone stolen. I think he should have it, like his cell phone somewhere on him, and he maybe looking through his contact and like dial Takemichi and like hold the phone and put the phone down, and he just overhear him fighting, right? And he heard like, I don't know, like the bells ringing at the church at midnight or some shit. Then he's like, oh, I know where that is. I'm gonna go there, instead of like having this like Deus Ex Machina of like, oh, Baji and my brother wants me to go to church, so I'm gonna randomly just go to the church today. Takemichi has his plan. I need to hold out until Mikey gets here, right? Don't give up. Pain is irrelevant. My body, I don't care. I don't care for it anymore. All it matters is saving fuck this, whatever his name is, this guy's name from his brother, right? But no, it's like this dumb asshole like, I'm gonna defeat you, I'm the main protagonist. But no, Mikey actually is. I'm gonna come in and just one shot the fucking main antagonist of this arc. I mean, just stupid as well. He could have invested thousands into Bitcoin, become rich. Shut up, bro.
Moments, especially with Taiju's confrontation, all of the stuff that they were trying to do with Mikey's character, the cast of characters, Takemichi being a bit of a unique protagonist, especially within the delinquent manga genre, and even Kisaki just being an overall menace. Now, there is a bit of a turning point after the immense satisfaction of the conflict within Takemichi and Kisaki, and that's when we find out Kisaki's motivations as a character.
What is stopping this motherfucker from pulling the trigger? Is the safety on? Is it a toy gun? Is it fake? No, we saw it shoot. We saw it penetrate someone. What is stopping the main antagonist from popping a cap in the protagonist's head right now? Tell me. Oh, him monologuing? I've been planning this all the time, and you're a time leaper, aren't you? Oh shit, you kicked the gun out of my hand. Plot armor. Exactly. That's all it boils down to. Plot armor and characters bailing Takemichi out. That's why he's such like a fucking weak ass Rin character, bro. Has Takemichi watched like fucking Detroit Survival from Dale and knows how to disarm a fucking gun from an assailant? And that's how he was able to do this? You know, like what the fuck? This is the second time that Kisaki pointed a gun at Takemichi's head and didn't shoot. Like I feel like the only scenario the gun made sense when in the present Kisaki had a gun pointed at Takemichi when he has like there's no way out and Kazutora then saves him. I'm okay with that. Him getting a gun when he's like a child, like how? I feel like it's so hard to get an actual gun in Japan, right? Like the gun laws are so strict. So how does a teenage boy get a gun? Like, I get it, you're in a gang, but you're like in a delinquent gang. You're not in a fucking mafia, like fucking Yakuza gang yet, right? It's not built up to that level of status yet. How are you able to obtain a gun? A gun should be only used for like super pinnacle points in the story where it's like Takemichi has no way out. That's what the gun represents, right? Like a one-shot thing. Like you have no chance of getting out. He's getting carried all of his fights. Yes, I don't have a problem with that just in itself. Like him getting bailed out, but I need him initiate the rescue. Like he needs to ask for help. He needs to like SOS signal, woo, Mikey, come save me. Then like I'ma hold out against a super strong fucking gang member, right? He gets his ass beat. No, keep getting up. Come on, get up. Ignore the pain. Keep getting up. You gotta keep stalling until Mikey gets here. They could keep reiterating on that story over and over and that type of theme over and over again.
And it's at that moment where even I went, yeah, I don't know about that one, Chief. And it was around
yes, thank you. Okay. I'm glad Masked Man isn't just like completely like biased Tokyo Revengers like story and character. He's like, I'm so enthralled. Like he just honestly, Masked Man seems like he's a legitimate person who have like actual opinions. Because I've heard his like I've watched his Shonen tier list videos. He has a genuine and decent opinion on Naruto and One Piece. Like not like One Piece is really good, but it has flaws, right? Naruto's really good up until like it abandoned its whole theme of like the underdog story, and then like Naruto's the prophecy, right? He's genuinely someone I can actually listen to and trust without like, oh yeah, this person's just biased. Oh, there's a fanboy of this series, right? Generally, I can appreciate his opinions.
Look, if the manga continued due to the giant success of the anime, that's something that I don't really know, and I feel like it would genuinely be dishonest of me to say, oh yeah, for a fact, that's the only reason the manga continued, because I genuinely wouldn't know. Who knows? Maybe the author wanted...
Yeah, no one knows. At the end of the day, we don't know. You, me, Masked Man, the only people know is the publisher and the mangaka of the series, right? But honestly, it's not like a crazy far-off conspiracy to say that like the manga chapter got extended because the anime was doing good or the sales number was looking good, right? It just makes sense. It's just simple business practice, right? It happens with One Piece, it happens with Naruto, it happens with like the whole big three in general, it happens with Dragon Ball. Like if the series is good enough, like why not keep making content for it? Like the story doesn't need to end just yet, right? But I feel like in this scenario, like where the story could have ended perfectly on a good note, they just had to extend it. It's the Mikey DLC. Hey, you like Mikey, right? We'll give you a DLC for it. Here's another handful of chapters, but then like the idea is just running dry. I feel like it's really hard to come up with new ideas and interesting ideas on a weekly basis while drawing it, right? While storyboarding, while planning every single intricate detail. So like still shout out to Oda for doing that, but like not every single mangaka is like Oda, right? Where he has that type of workflow and that work ethic and that type of planning to do that. So it's not a crazy theory to say, oh yeah, the quality dropped in the recent chapters because it was doing well because of sales number, right?
Although I could see why people would draw the conclusion that the only reason the narrative for Tokyo Revengers has continued is due to the massive amount of money that it's going to bring in due to the success of the anime. I understand that perspective. I'm personally not going to jump on that narrative quite yet. It felt like what should have been the big satisfying conclusion to the conflict between Takemichi and Kisaki just ends up being extremely meh. This was built up to be the main.
Yes, I agree. I completely agree. I just think the dialogue that led up to this fucking moment was stupid. Because like I'm okay with him getting hit by a truck, right? Like it's just an evil. He's an evil, despicable villain. He goes out in a really shitty way. I'm fine with that. A series sort of grounded in reality. Things like this happening where a character decides to stand in the middle of the sidewalk or crosswalk, starts monologuing, you're looking back like, hey, like no, I'm not a time leaper like you. Right? And gets promptly ran over by a train. It's like, or a truck. Like, what? And the biggest problem with that is like, when was it ever established that time leaping is an actual power in this whole anime? Like, you know, in like other animes, like hockey's introduced. Other characters know the existence of a hockey. Chakra is a power that's used in the series. So people know the existence of chakra. I get Kisaki is super smart, but the conclusion that you have to jump to think that someone is time leaping, like, how do you make that assumption?
I think it's genuinely heartfelt. And as it continues onwards, and now we're around the 220 mark, we then have a giant moment within the series. and that's Draken's death.
Bruh.
Now, Draken, however
Please
you
go
wanna
in on
pronounce
this.
it, I always switch between the two. I can't bother. Is easily one of my favorite characters in the
Yes,
entire
yes,
series.
agreed,
He's a
agreed.
fan favorite.
Mhm.
And I actually think this is one of the better moments within the series, just because of the sheer emotional value of it. I genuinely got touchy. Like, it had been a while since I had touched Tokyo Revengers, but I went back to catch up and brush up on it yesterday and early today, and honestly, that moment hit me like a truck. Seeing what ends up happening to Draken's character and what he wants Takemichi to do.
He didn't deserve this.
He
didn't deserve this.
You know? And I
Wait, did he literally just die for this dialogue? Did he literally just die just for this dialogue? For him, like, hey, bro, hey, remember, you got to take care of Mikey. Please take care of Mikey, okay? I'm going to push you a little forward, okay? Is the only fucking reason? The only fucking reason when his whole death could have been avoided if Takemichi realized in his foresight that, hey, it's a rainy day. I shouldn't take Senju out. Senju, I had 3 foresights that it's raining on the day and Senju was laying on the ground. Maybe I shouldn't go outside and maybe I should take Senju inside and so I can protect Senju. No, he decided to still go outside on a rainy day. Draken did not deserve this. Such a good character dying for the dumbest fucking reason, bro.
And I wanted to see how the story would go on from there, because that's at that moment where I go, what's everyone on about? What's the massive explosion? What is the issue? And well, I'll get to that, because after Draken's death, then we see this giant conflict between the gang members and the different respective gangs, actually. And the leader of one of these gangs is this absolute monster.
Behemoth.
Like, I'm pretty sure he'd put Taiju to shame. That's how much of a monster he is. He's a character, and mind you, these details are going to be...
Grown-ass man, bro. He got held back 3 years.
A character who, if I'm not mistaken, beat his own father to death at the age of 12. That's just keep that in mind, right? And that's the birth of what's known as these dark impulses. Or in other words, to make it a little more simple, murderous intent. This character goes through extremely brutal circumstances that awakens his desire to kill and to fight. And these are these same dark impulses that we've seen built up with Mikey throughout the entire story of Tokyo Revengers. So this isn't a concept that was pulled out of nothing, unlike Takemichi being able to see into the future, which either I'm stupid or... where did that come from? Regardless, I think at that moment in the story, it's a really good demonstration of dark impulses, and we get some genuinely brilliant panels, in my opinion, demonstrating Mikey's feelings. Now, personally, it bothered me a little bit at
Why is he self-aware of it, though? Wait. Okay, he's self-aware of his dark impulses, so why don't you, like, pull yourself away from things that could create that dark impulse, like losing close gang members, friends, colleagues, or whatever, and just live a normal life? Like, you're gonna have these dark impulses more if you live in this violent gang life, right? You have so many people to fall back on. You can work at Draken's shop. Like, you were way ahead of everyone when you said Tokyo Revengers weren't that good. I think generally a lot of people still like the whole story and everything I have complained about Tokyo Revengers before the whole plane scenario came out. People still like it and people still disagree with me. Maybe this is just opens people's eye. Massman's video and maybe that toy scenario will open up people's eye about how the story is very flawed and could be better.
What could be the issue? Because after this moment, we then get to see Mikey whoop Takemichi and put him in a 3-day coma, which then Takemichi wakes up from and shows a brand new conviction as a character.
Wait, he actually sustains injury that affects him after more than 1 day? Because that's one of my biggest criticisms as well. Takemichi's getting his ass kicked, next day happens and he's fully healed. Full HP, whoop, throughout the whole story. Him getting shot, beaten up, blah, blah, blah. Like, he sustained no, like, long-term injuries at all. But now putting in a coma, like, this is great. Finally.
Which then goes on to just confirm what I've always been saying about Takemichi. He's a character who inspires others and relies on others and puts his belief in them, and that draws people towards him, which then he goes to form his own gang. At this moment, I'm enjoying it even more. I'm excited. I'm glad to see all these characters band together. And then when he goes on to get Senju, one of the characters that was very prevalent during this entire confrontation, and one of the big new characters that would be introduced after the entire Kisaki confrontation, we then see her say that it's all her fault that Mikey and the other characters who are extremely prevalent are the way that they are. It's her fault, and she's been carrying this ginormous secret. Now, the chapter goes on, and we see them all as kids, and she has a toy plane. And,
Senju.
That toy plane gets broken. And, essentially it gets blamed on one of the other kids, and Mikey proceeds to beat the ever-living life out of him. He doesn't kill him, but he beats him up pretty bad.
What?
That's the origin of the Dark Impulse.
Wait, no, that can't be it. No. So the context. Give me context of these panels. So Sanju was playing with Mikey's fucking plane, and then she lied because she didn't want to get in trouble with fucking Mikey.
So remember what I told you to hold on to that piece of information of the dude who's like Dark Impulse awakened because he beat his own father to death at the age of 12? And now you expect me to believe that Mikey's origin for the Dark Impulse originated because of a toy plane being broken? Now look, I understand that Mikey's a character who is very protective of the people that he cares about. That's something that's been prevalent throughout the entire series.
I think it's just one instance. The origin stories of the Dark Impulse could have been better, but it just snowballs. It makes sense for who he is today because all the trauma he has gone through, right? Kazutora, Baji, Draken now, especially. Even though he doesn't show emotion for it, I know deep down, Mikey probably cares about Draken's passing, right? The origin story is dumb as fuck. I completely agree. Normal kids don't do that. I understand him doing that to somebody else after every single trauma that's happened to him, right? Like something real fucked up and he beat someone to death and then try to make him smile because he's not happy in his life and he wants them to smile, like some Joker vibes, right? Some shit like that, right? Doing it now, present day Mikey in the 3DDs arc, right? But like childhood Mikey doing that to his best friend, like what? This is the first traumatic Dark Impulse initiating thing that's happened, and this is the first thing that he has done. God, the writing in this.
And now you expect me to believe that Mikey's origin for the Dark Impulse originated because of a toy plane being broken? Now look, I understand that Mikey's a character who is very protective of the people that he cares about. That's something that's been prevalent throughout the entire series, and we know how he reacts to that. And I understand they're kids, and so, I mean, what could you really depict? Anything but that, actually? So it's this thing where I think Tokyo Revengers was actually going in a really solid direction. I was really enjoying what the manga was doing. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion. Who knows? I don't care.
No, that's the most popular opinion.
To have something that has been built up as the murderous impulse of Mikey, the thing that has been keeping him in the darkness and what has caused Takemichi to go back in time over and over and over again for, and then you present us with another character.
No, that's fucking one thing I hated. They shift the whole blame to Mikey, how he's the origin, or he's the whole reasoning why Takemichi has to go back in time and keep changing the future is because of Mikey, and it's not because Kisaki. Is like, what? No, Kisaki has been using Mikey and using him as a catalyst to manipulate him to get what he wants, right? Because Mikey is powerful, he can fight, he has influence, he has the charisma to command many people, and a lot of people are afraid of him. But Kisaki has him around his fingers, right? And that's why he's able to manipulate him and get himself into power. He is not the mastermind behind everything and trying to ruin every single thing that Takemichi is trying to do. Like, what? Like, that made no fucking sense at all.
To go back in time over and over and over again for, and then you present us with another character who beat his own dad to death. How do you expect us as the audience to genuinely believe this and take this seriously? The cause of conflicts and deaths, and you're trying to tell us that the origin of it was a broken toy plane? Now, maybe I'm just a simple brain Puerto Rican, and this has some symbolic meaning in Japan that I know nothing of. Do toy planes have any sort of symbolic Buddhist interpretation that I don't know of at all? And so now I truly understand what the frustration, the outrage.
Like I said, the way you can correct this, if the object is super important to Mikey because like it's from his mother, father, from Emma or whoever, right? And he never got to see them again. That's why it's so important to him, right? It has sentimental value. Then the story could be saved. Baji made it. Oh, then fuck. Shit. Like, I don't want to undervalue or undermine Baji's and Mikey's relationship with each other, right? Because it's important. But like, I feel like a relationship with someone's like family, like direct family, like mother, father, that you never got to see again. You got like slight glimpse of like fond memories of them, but you can't remember, like you can barely even remember their face. And this is the only thing, the plane is the only thing that you can remember and hold true to your heart and remember them with. And it got broken. But like, it's Baji plane, he flips out because Baji made it for him. It's just like a cheap plastic, $1 fucking plane, dollar value, great value fucking plane, and he decided to rip one of his childhood friend's mouth because of it. Seems a little bit extreme to me.
All of this that has previously happened, these conflicts and all of this being pushed to murder, Draken was killed!
Yes.
And it starts with a toy plane. This is one of those cases where I think leaving the origin and
No. I genuinely think the Dark Impulse origin story should have been Mikey's brother's death. That should have initiated. Things start snowballing. Kazutora, Baji. So like adding to the Dark Impulse story over this fucking plane and then having like Draken die for such a dumb reason and introducing like a fucking asshole with Takemichi knowing having foresight or whatever. It's like, what is going on?
This is one of those cases where I think
like,
leaving the origin and the cause for an evil in a certain character to be left ambiguous. And I'm really hoping
but it's not. Wait, it's not.
We find out that
it's not. The evil starts from Mikey's brother. Like, he starts losing people. Yes, it doesn't affect him immediately. He doesn't realize it. He's not self-conscious of like, oh wow, I'm really doing real fucked up shit because like I'm losing family members. I need to be stronger or whatever reason for him to be like more gruesome, more violent. But then Kazutora happened. Then Baji happened. That's when everything should like a big enough snowball has happened where you can say, oh yeah, this are the reasons why he has these dark impulses, right? And there's good enough reasons.
There's no amounts of copium that could justify this. Like again, I actually quite enjoyed everything Tokyo Revengers was doing. And even though I would have preferred it to have ended with the Kisaki confrontation, I understand what has happened afterwards is necessary for what the author wants to do for the story.
Speaking of the Kisaki confrontation, I lost my shit when it's like Takemichi thought Kisaki was a rival. Like, whenever was he a rival? He's your mortal enemy. You had this strength and conviction that like, okay, I'm gonna kill Kisaki. Push comes to shove, I'm gonna have to kill Kisaki. Even when Takemichi had a gun in his hand, he let him run away. He just throws the gun and chases after him. Like, bro, this is the man behind every single thing going on in your life wrong. He killed the love of your life. And abused and manipulated everyone that you love and hold dear to your heart. And you had the chance to fucking kill him and you don't do it.
But this last chapter that's a rough one. That is a rough chapter. So again, to just sum up my personal thoughts, I thought some of the things that Tokyo Revengers had been doing in the last 40 or so chapters did actually have some really good moments in them. Some of the better moments in the series, I would argue. But I can understand the investment being low due to the introduction of all these new characters.
Yeah.
But this last 100%. Chapter is just, if you aren't into the channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe.
Very from Masked Man. No, like I said, I can definitely appreciate Masked Man for making this video because he presented it a very good way, right? He criticized all the previous flaws of Tokyo Revengers, and he's not like trying to be like this person where like, oh yeah, I'm gonna immediately jump on the hate bandwagon of shitting on the latest chapter of Tokyo Revengers. He knows there's apparent flaws in Tokyo Revengers, and he talked about them openly before he gets to the biggest issue of the whole series. So it's glad to actually hear that someone else who's well versed with manga and anime series in general has some of the same opinions and thoughts and perspective of a series that you have a lot of criticism for. So great video from Masked Man overall.